Welcome to the Chocobo Raiders, a Final Fantasy XIV podcast.
Welcome to Chocobo Raiders, the Realm Recast. We're doing another episode. We're here. We had a vacation. How's everybody vacation went?
Pretty good.
I'm sorry. I'm looking
Decent.
at Pokemon.
Better than yours.
I'm looking at Pokemon Go right now. I'm sorry.
Well,
It was
you should
good.
Stop that.
I had 4 days off. It was pretty sweet.
Well, that's good. How is everyone else? I'm asking everybody here.
I did a whole lot of almost nothing. I saw the Canada Day fireworks, but right next to the fireworks there was this giant thundercloud that was like constantly lit up with lightning, so I ended up watching those instead.
That sounds pretty sweet. So I moved to a new house. Me and my brother bought a house last year, and it's the first time I ever moved out of my parents' house. And we have this gigantic deck that surrounds most of our house, and we're super high up on a hill. And our neighbor was like, "Oh, you can see fireworks from like every city around here." And I'm like, "Oh, no shit." And most people did it on the 3rd than the 4th, because the 3rd was Sunday and we had Monday off. So I'm looking out like at 9 o'clock on Sunday night, and there was just, I could see like 6 different cities' fireworks. It was awesome. And then these people on the street below us were shooting off their own fireworks. So like I could have, like, they were almost hitting our deck. It was super awesome. I kind of loved it, yeah.
I wound up
Nice.
working on Sunday, and the place where I work is way up on a hill in the foothills, and so when I was driving home from work, I could see like 9 different fireworks shows going off around the city. Just because I had to come back down out of the mountains, and it was really cool. But
Sweet.
Friday was like the best thing ever, because Brodin did a fireworks build, and I got to be in the backstage area in like full fire gear and stuff, and we were pretty much, how far would you say, like 100 feet from the truck where it was launching from?
50.
Yeah, it was super close. Like we could hear the mortar sounds, just boom.
Oh my god! Me and my family used to go to New Hampshire for the 4th of July, and some places we'd be in like a field, and we'd have to actually lay on the ground because the fireworks were friggin' right there. It was amazing. But that shit's scary though. I remember one year I was in Maine, and they had a barge on a lake, and one of the fireworks exploded on the barge before it left the tube, and that shit caught on fire. Like that was crazy.
Yeah, that sounds pretty intense.
Yeah.
Has anybody seen there's a video of somebody like accidentally set off an entire aisle of fireworks in a Rite Aid or something? The whole aisle is just exploding and on fire.
What? No.
Why does a Rite Aid have fireworks?
Well, it's not illegal everywhere. I don't know if it was a Rite Aid, but that's kind of the vibe that I got from the location. You know how they all look like that?
Right.
It's just one of those things. Like it's really funny. If I can find it, I'll put it up in the Discord. But oh, it was so bad.
Sounds like everybody had a fun vacation.
Yeah.
That's
Nice,
good.
relaxing.
All right. Well, then let's move on. Now that we got that all taken care of. Crabby, you finished 3.0. How'd you like the final fights of the story?
No spoilers, because I'm literally right there.
I'm not gonna spoil anything, but all right, everything. Well, now was there? I'm trying to think. Was the dungeon the last part, or was there a duty that was
The trial was
the trial?
Knights of the Round.
Yes. So after the final trial, like that fight was cool. Like that fight was cool as hell. And is there an extreme version of that?
There is, yeah.
It's
Is it
very
hard?
difficult.
It's very
It
hard.
is extremely difficult. Still
'Cause-
difficult to this day for its mechanics.
Like, even
That
though
fight
we're
was
over
badass.
the item level of what it drops, it's still a pain in the ass.
But honestly, I loved all the cutscenes after that. Like, you know, like the end of the story, like everything, because there's so many like open-ended things, and I'm like, what is that? What is that? What's going on here? What is going on? And I'm like, wait, so what? And like it was really, I was really, I liked how they ended it, and how it all finished. Well, in quotes, the story ended, but
Well,
yeah, no.
So
like,
the story that you're on is actually the it's the Dragon Song War.
Yeah.
And that ends in 3.3. So once you get to that point, you'll actually be done with that arc, and then we're moving on to something else in 3.4.
Now, does 3.1 and 3.2 have main story quests as well?
Oh yeah, they all do.
And, so all of it is the Dragon Song War.
Yeah, it's all leading up to the climax.
Okay. Oh, that's awesome, because I don't know, I like, and the mount you get at the end, I'm not gonna spoil it, but the mount you get at the end, I wasn't expecting that, and I was like, oh, that's cool. He's got kind of fat hips for a mount, but he's pretty cool. So I kind of want a skinnier one of those, if you know what I mean.
Well, you have the pet version of them.
Yeah, but you can't ride the pet version though.
Yes, but it can ride you.
You can ride my head.
Yeah, if you're idle long enough.
I'm lost. What mount
It's
are you
fine.
talking
Well,
about?
I don't want to spoil it. It's the one you get when you finish the story.
I am right there too. Like,
Yeah.
and in one of
It's-
the last
it's-
Lituna knows the mount. It's fine. I have the figurine, and she asked what it is, so I answered.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Oh, that reminds me. I've been when I get into MMOs, I kind of like owning physical things, and I kind of want to. For 2.0, there was never a physical version of 2.0, was there?
There was, but it was just a disc. There wasn't like a collector's edition.
There wasn't. So the only collector's thing is for Heavensward.
1.0 had a collector's edition.
You know what would be the coolest thing is if they sold 3D printed physical figurines of your character.
Dude, I know a place. It's not officially licensed by Squeenix or anything, but I definitely know a place where you can order custom 3D prints of things. Like, you just have to send them the model.
I mean,
if I knew how to like grab my character model, I would go for that in a heartbeat.
Most
It
of the
sounds
time,
like an afternoon of Googling.
Most of the time, I think you would just take pictures. But I remember Warcraft, actually, they were kind of affiliated with a company called Figure Prints. They didn't own them, but they were sort of affiliated with them, where you would send them pictures of your character, and they would make a 3D model of it.
Yeah.
It was like $100 for one of them.
Yeah, this place, there was a place that was offering services like that at a con we went to last year, where you would stand on this platform, they would scan you in your cosplay and then send you a 3D printed model of yourself. It was pretty fantastic.
I mean, what I'm kind of looking for is, was there a statue for Heavensward?
Yeah, it's the Midgard Storm mount.
Okay, yeah, see that. I want to see if I can find that anywhere.
You probably can
'Cause
on like eBay or Amazon.
When I get into a game, I kind of spend way too much money. Like, for example, I spent a total of $350 on The Witcher 3, and I bought the game. I bought the game 3 times, and I only played it on one area. So I mean, I actually have like a shrine to The Witcher 3. It's pretty fucked up. But yeah, no, I do kind of want something Final Fantasy XIV ish. But yeah.
And then 1.0, you got like a journal and some other stuff and it was a nice journal. It was like leather bound and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You can also buy plushes if you want from the official store, like Fat Cat plush. And
Yeah, there's official store stuff that you could go and buy.
I saw somebody at a Tonberry, and I was like, oh my god, I kind of want one of those.
Yeah.
If you go to the Square Enix official store, they do have things from 14 in it.
Oh, I have to look.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I thought 3.0 was awesome. I thought it was more interesting than the 2.0 story.
Oh yeah, like the best way I can describe 2.0 is that it gets really good at like 2.4. When shit starts to go down.
Right, yeah. Like 2. That's definitely right.
It strikes me as one of those, like, the story is very standard MMO right up to that point, and then it's like, no, child, there are stakes.
Right.
Yeah, no, it's one of those things. It's like, you know those characters you grew up in love? Well, fuck them. And fuck you for liking them.
Oh no! My
And you're just like,
feels.
excuse me?
Oh, these plushies are expensive. It's $40. Woof.
I think they're massive, though.
some of
Keep in
them-
mind that Fat Cat plushie is like the size of my torso.
Really? That thing looks. Oh, the fat.
Huge.
Oh, they have a Gobu too. Oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're huge.
Some of the plushies do come with like extra rewards, so like check their description or whatever.
Like
Some of them come
sometimes
with
you'll get an
stuff.
in-game stuff, yeah,
Yeah, that's
as well. All right. Well, on that note, did anybody have anything fun happen to them during the vacation on the game? I know Lituna did. I took her into the Aquapolis.
Oh my
Oh,
god.
Aquapolis. I
Oh
saw
my-
I saw you raging in guild chat over a duty you were doing at one point. Oh, that was kind of funny.
My
Right.
free company back on a Behemoth had a nice, fun little party. Because we actually recently merged with a different free company, so we're not Cepheus anymore, but Graph. And we had like a party to celebrate that, and we played Mad Libs and hide and seek, and it was pretty fun.
That's pretty awesome.
Dude, no, the Aquapolis, that is, oh my god, just the stress that it is so much fun, but it is so stressful. And I highly encourage anybody to find a nice little group of 4 people to go rock that out, because it
Okay.
was so much fun.
Can
And
somebody
I was
explain it to me?
Okay, so it's the treasure map thing. You unlock a thing where you get maps and then you decipher them. You go to the coordinates and you dig, and it'll spawn some monsters. And once you defeat them, you can open the chest for some loot. And it has a chance of spawning a portal to the Aquapolis, which is basically like your standard dungeon crawl, like refined down to a fine point. It is one room at a time, a series of either swarms or individuals or small groups of big bads, and you beat the shit out of them, and at the end of every fight, you are presented with 2 doors. And both doors are basically just hooked up to a random number generator, and they have a chance of opening and letting you down to the next lower level, which has better stuff and harder bosses, or just kicking you out completely. The stress comes from the fact that those random number generator doors also include troll responses, where it does the full animation of like, we're kicking you out, you lost, it's closed, just kidding, you can keep going. And ones where it's like, ta-da, you get to keep going, psych, and locking you out. And it's just every single time somebody has to hit the button to pick a door, it is just, you sit there just like on pins and needles waiting for the animation to finish so that you can move on. And on top of that, it has a habit of randomly dropping gigantic bosses with one-hit kills into the middle of your swarm
Well,
fights. Like, it
was
happens.
one-hit kills to you because you were an underleveled DPS. But
No. It has one-hit kill moves though. But still, the point being is like it'll just randomly, like you'll be halfway through dealing with, a bunch of slimes, and then suddenly big honkin' boss right in the middle of the party that dropped from the ceiling with no warning. It's definitely one of those that it gets your adrenaline up and keeps it up, but it's just so much fun. Like we did like what, 3 or 4 of them in a row, and it never got to be a grind. Like I know sometimes doing duties can start to grind pretty hard, even if you're switching them up, because eventually it all kind of boils down to the same mechanics. But the additional stress of the trolley doors and the troll mechanics just made the whole thing stay fun.
That sounds pretty awesome.
I like immediately went out and unlocked it as soon as I figured out where the quest to do so was, so I could start doing them too. The only thing is you do need a pre-formed party to deal with it, because there's no way you can solo it.
Mm-hmm.
no, it's a
Yeah,
ton of
that's my
fun,
rating.
and it's you get rewards. Like everybody gets the drops and so on and so forth. We kind of just go by the rule: if it's your map, it's your rules on the loot. So far, everybody has just said, everything's greed or whatever. But I mean, she made like what, 200,
I made
400K?
6, yeah, like Yeah, 400k, just from selling the materials that I got, because the loot that it drops is enormous and very, very expensive in the markets. And so it's just like it was really cool. And I mean, you get some good gear too, but you get a lot of materia and like rare crafting items and stuff too.
Yeah, it's just fun as well. And it's funny because we were just like started yelling every time the door looked like it wasn't going to open. So
Started screaming at one of the players. Oh, it was a blast.
yeah, and like and now that you're 60,
also,
next
like,
time we do maps, we'll bring you along, Crabby.
Also,
Yeah,
like,
no, I mean,
mostly
I'm
levels.
Yeah, I mean-
Hopefully I'll get more time to log on this character too, so I can get him up to level.
Yeah, it'd be fun. It's one of those things that I think would be a good like event. It's one of those things that's just fun to go and do. Once more people are up and ready to go, you can make it like an event night kind of deal, and that's always fun to do.
That would be really cool.
Yeah. It's just one of those things. We didn't have any patch notes, I know for a fact, so we're going to skip that. Kukajoo, did you do anything of note or have a fun moment to share?
Not in-game, aside from the party on my server.
Okay. Well, in that case...
I'd love to know how you played hide and seek with the free company.
Well, you can clip through furniture, right? So, you just run inside of it, find a hiding spot, and everyone has to the seeker has to find you.
Oh my goodness. And the map doesn't give them away, or is that just like a...
We turn off UI,
Possible.
we turn off the HUD when we're seeking and hiding.
Oh my gosh, that's fantastic.
Alright, and I know other than that, some news going on is that the Feast Season 1 will be ending July 19th. If you didn't get a chance to do it, it's the PvP ranked. It was actually pretty fun. I enjoyed it. I'll be probably more focused on Season 2 once it comes out to get some of those nice rewards that are exclusive to it. And at the same time on the 19th, we're getting 3.35, which is going to have the release of the Deep Dungeon, Palace of the Dead, which looks like it's going to be some amazing goddamn content if you haven't looked into it.
Now, what is that? Can
so
you give me a brief overview of that?
It's going to be basically a roguelike in Final Fantasy XIV. You get to assemble your team, whatever you want it to be, and just go into a 100-floor dungeon that's like a roguelike. Levels don't matter. Like, item level isn't going to matter so much. You can start the deep dungeon at level 17, I believe is when they said you can unlock it. And it has its own stats and own equipment that you acquire in there that will give you boosts and so on and so forth in the dungeon that you can also take out into the normal game. And it also has a save function that has to me, my nostalgia filter hit it pretty hard. Has a really cool little functionality. It's a save function for the roguelike, so you can save your progress into the deep dungeon. And it actually has the old school 2D sprites when you save it of your class and race.
Right. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, no, I thought that was really cool. And it shows like your whole party setup when you save it if you're doing it as a party, not just your sprite. So I'm looking forward to it because it's something like, let's say...
It's a 4-man, right?
You don't have to have 4 people. Like, the preview that they were showing at the developers were 3 people, and they were all 3 DPS. And they were doing just fine. Like, they said that, yeah, we did it just great. We got to, like, so-and-so floor. Eventually one of our guys died, and since, they're all DPS, it was like, it wasn't that big a deal, because there's towers in the dungeon that you can use to revive teammates if you don't have a healer. There's also the Phoenix Down items that you can take with you if you're not taking a healer. So there's no real, format that you have to follow for the dungeon.
Right.
So you don't have to take a tank, you don't have to take a healer if you don't know them. If it's just you and your DPS friend, just go at it.
And you can save your progress, too?
Yeah. You can save your progress, you can solo it even if you really wanted to.
That's super awesome.
So that's going to be another really cool content that comes out here shortly. Especially just because, like I said,
I'm really
it's one of
excited
those,
for it.
yeah, it's one of those things that level doesn't matter. So, like the lower level people we have in the free company, if they do want to have be a part of stuff, because I know they can't really do treasure maps. If you do like an event night of House of the Dead, boom, done. Now I do think that you have to have like certain story unlocked for it. So I'm gonna have to look onto the unlocking requirements if you need at least a 50 job, because I think it was Harak hard mode that you have to have done, which is a level 50 dungeon. So I'm gonna have to look into that, but from what they said, it unlocks at level 17, so it's a little bit conflicting from what they've said. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Zeke, either you had to have Totorak, like the normal one done, or hard mode. I don't remember. We'll find out. Alright. Moving on. Lituna.
Yeah.
How are you enjoying where you're at in the story?
I really, 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 really don't like the layout of the current area I'm in.
Azizlea?
Azizla, I think is how they pronounce it in the cutscenes.
I don't know.
Especially because there's one Aether point at the very beginning, and you have to run across the entire freaking island.
There's no
to
Aether
get to
points.
There's one right at the very begin to get there, right?
No.
And then
there's teleports.
there's the Aethernet right at the very beginning.
Oh,
so that
okay.
you can
Aethernet.
get
You said
there.
Aether current. I was like, there's
I
none
said
of those.
Aether point. I said Aether point.
Yeah, okay.
The point being that there is one spot, and then you have to run through everything and then some to get to different islands, and each island is labyrinthine and just made of hatred and machinery. And it's I can see on my map that like I got to the third part. I guess it's set up in quadrants. I got to the end of the third part, got stalled there, and I still have like 80% of the map to fill. And it's just it is hatred
actually,
and vines and machinery.
Actually, one of the smaller areas overall.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the fact that there's no surface area for exploration, really. All of the Aether currents come through story, which means if you have to go very linearly, it doesn't give you the opportunity to explore like the other locations did. And then the vast majority of it, like, it is very clearly laid out in a way that is designed to be navigated by flight, not on foot.
That's
But
why they
then it
guide
makes
you
you
through
navigate.
it on foot, through
Yeah,
quests, instead of trying to go and get Aether cards.
But even then, there was a point where it's like, okay, so you wander through like this labyrinth of multiple levels and dark corners and areas where the next hallway is practically invisible because of the texture. And then you've got to go all the way back through it from a different route to get to a part that you just like winged past to do a thing, and then find your way back from there. It's just like, yeah. And of course, you know, the arrows on the map don't help because you have to go in a circle to get to anything. There's no such thing as a straight line. I'm just over in the corner screaming into a pillow. No! And of course now, because I had to come back to Mist for the podcast, and I plan to head back out there when I get home from work afterwards, that means I get to go through the whole thing again. Because you can't, like, skip anything as far as I can tell. You teleport from point A to point B, point B to point C.
If when you get on, Z or Ragnarok are on, you can have them fly you there with one of their double-seater mounts.
I feel like that is a good solution, but that's also cheating.
I mean, no, you're just getting back to the point you were. I wouldn't call it cheating.
Man, it would have made so much more sense to have just like a little Aethernet of some kind, however they want to swing it, between the islands.
No, fuck you!
Clearly. It's like, man, I thought the Asians were assholes, but apparently, the Alligans were bigger assholes first.
I would hold off
1,000
until you
years
say
ago.
that. Wait till you get to the final dungeons.
I did say apparently. I did say apparently. Also, there's this on one of the areas. There's this very unsettling texture on some of the area that I quite literally feel like I am walking on the bowels of the island. It's so gross. It's so gross. And there's like weird gurgly area sounds, and it's just, I feel like I am in a giant floating stomach. Ugh. So I'm having fun.
I mean, that's what the Coil of Bahamut is. You're inside and on Bahamut the entire time.
Yeah, but he doesn't gurgle. He's dormant.
That's the 2.0 raid.
Yeah. Isn't that what Alexander is too?
Yeah, but he's a machine.
Like when I saw that coming out of the water, I was like, wait a minute. I was like, that's not a hole. And I was like, oh shit. Like, I was kind of surprised.
Yeah, no, that's the raid.
Alexander.
He's a very large primal.
Yeah. I want to fight one that's like working that big.
The biggest robot we've fought is probably the Voltron robot.
Why can't
the primal one?
Oh, the ultimate weapon?
No, the Voltron. He's
The
final boss of Alexander Tier 2. It's 5 robots that
that one.
Oh,
5 robots that
showed
combine
me.
into one robot.
Okay, I remember you showing me that one, and it was so absurd, especially because of the music.
Yeah. The intro you made was its music, Crabby.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. I haven't done that. I actually... When I need to figure out what gear I need to go for, because I'm kind of just running around doing random bullshit that I'm cleaning up now, like side quests and stuff. And I still have like 58, 59 gear on, and I don't know what to go for.
Yeah, so you're unfortunately hit the part that when you're... It's the worst part of this game. It's your first level 60. In my opinion, it's the worst part, because now you're kind of in a grind fest. The best gear to get...
Which is fine, I don't mind that.
Yeah, the best gear to get is your Esoteric Tome gear, which you buy in Idleshire using your Esoteric Tomes, which you get from doing, dungeons.
Okay.
So... Honestly, the one that drops the most esoterics is the story one that doesn't have any gear drop in it. It's 150 per run without a new completion bonus. And they reduced the cost on the esoteric tome gear, so it's not too bad. You can even buy a weapon with the esoteric tomes, and it's all item level 200.
Oh, okay.
So it pretty much gets you right to where you need to be.
I have 220 esoterics, which is probably nothing.
I think you can buy hands and heads with that much.
I have 930 tombstones of poetics.
Yeah, those are old as hell. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
That's the stuff for level 50 gear.
I have 15 lore ones.
And that's the best way I can really say it is if you remember in the old World of Warcraft, the Valor and
yes,
Valor stuff.
Yeah. So it's like Valor and Justice. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So Valor is the poetics lore, or not poetics. Lore tombstones.
Yeah, Valor's lore and Justice would be SOs. Okay. Yeah. That makes sense.
So esoterics, you can get a shit ton of them real fast and buy decent gear that will get you started as a level 60.
How much is one esoteric piece, on average, would you say? In the area of 200?
It's pretty cheap, yeah. It's 200. I know the weapon is 490, but it's a weapon, so...
I figure I'm just gonna... I'm on the first part of the anima weapon, and it looks like I can get a blue anima weapon relatively quickly.
Yeah, you can. And that's the anima relic, and that's the relic weapon. Right. The sword on my back is what my Dark Knight one is turned into.
Right.
So they grow with you if you complete quests and so on and so forth. There is a part in the current relics that's just fucking awful.
It's a major pain. I'm still stuck on it.
It's terrible. It's the grind fest of all grind fest, and I have no idea why they decided to do it.
To give you a little bit of nostalgia for that last relic.
Well, what do you
the
have to
first
do?
one.
What makes
So you
it
have to
bad?
collect 20 tokens.
Okay. Just kill 20 mobs, you got it, right? That's it?
Sure, I wish. By 20 tokens, I mean 20 of 4 different types of tokens, so a total of 80.
Okay.
And to get one token, there's several different ways to do it, and none of them are fun. You can buy them with a crap ton of poetics, or a crap ton of esoteric. You can grind Alexander Tier 1, which no one does anymore, so that's not really going to happen. But to get one of those tokens, you would have to do like 10 of one run in a row to get an item to get one token. And then...
Just one.
Yeah, just one.
And you need 80?
Yeah.
That's cool.
There's
That's-
there's beastmen that you can do, and this is probably the best way to do it is the beastmen tribes.
Oh, the dailies?
Yeah, the dailies give you a beastman item that you can trade in. For the Heavenswards, you can do any beastman. They all give all 4 of the tokens. The 2.0 beastmen, so the older ones, which are like the bird people, no, not bird
Yeah,
people,
I've been doing
Exil
those.
Ali and the
Yeah.
so on and so forth. All of them give specific tokens per thing. They're a little less expensive. They're 13 tokens for just one item. You can't choose what item you need.
So
And
you can get
then-
like one every day and a half, like almost one a day.
Yeah.
Oh.
So, honestly, the fastest way to do it now is the Heavensward Beast Tribes, in my opinion. It takes 18, but you could get 18 instead of 13, but you could get any token at all, so it doesn't matter. And the Moogle quests, once you get to a high enough rank, have been dropping 2 of their Beastman items per quest instead of just 1.
Oh.
Yeah. Now, that said, to do the Moogle quest, you need to have a level 50 crafter.
Right, yeah. I'm like level 32, I think, on Weaver.
Does it have to be a crafter? Can you do
Yes.
them with a disciple of the hand?
It has to be a
Or
crafter.
lend?
No, it has to be a crafter. It's crafting.
I was curious about that too, because when I finished up all the side quests yesterday, I realized I didn't even unlock the Moogle quest because I don't even have a crafter of 50, so yeah, it has to be.
Yeah, I need to get my crafters up.
I mean, like I said, the previous Beastmen, the Ixalali or whatever, are a really good way to do it because it doesn't cost any money to do those. They give you the materials and XP to do them.
Your
Um,
Exali quests, your Grand Company dailies.
Yeah, turning in your Grand Company mission allowances, which you can look at and see what they are if you hit Control U, and then it's the very first one. If you turn in that item to the Grand Company, you get seals plus a butt ton of XP. And if
There are
there's a
elves in the
star
lobby.
next to it, you get even more XP. And if you turn in a high quality of that item, you get twice as much XP. So,
It's just funny to me, like, idle camera panned to, like, the lobby, and there were some people dressed as elves in there. In, like, green little outfits.
it happens. It was, that was Cat Mooncaller. She has, that outfit. Oh god, that was Z. He's running around as a paladin, like
He
Link.
has a Santa hat on.
He's trying to be
Oh my
Link from
God.
Legend of Zelda.
Oh, yeah.
Alright.
I guess this is what I get for calling his bluff.
Well, thanks for that.
You know, it's better than looking at a wood panel and the butts of the merchants
Well, there you
for
go.
the entire show.
I don't know. Depends on the merchant.
Yeah, I believe we had this conversation about how you're all racist with your retainers.
Yeah, sure. Anyway, so the relics, they grow with you, so that's why it's a pretty good thing to do it if you don't want to, like, So the way they do this is that there's two ways to get like current item level weapons. Sorry, I had to cough. One way is to do the like extreme fight that's out. So like Thoradin Extreme for a while was one way to get a current item level weapon. Or you work on the relic. And that's kind of where they've always been with it. I think with the Tomestones of Lore was the Lore was the first time they kind of broke that trend, and they made it so you can technically buy a weapon with a Tomestone of Lore. Kind of. You have to get 7 wins in the final fight of Midas, or Gordian, which is the Tier 2 Alexander. And after those 7 wins, you get a bunch of like gears that you could turn into a item that you could trade in for a weapon with 1,000 lore, which is a ton of lore to get since you can only get like 450 a week.
Damn.
And then you get an item level 230 weapon out of it. So, I mean, a lot of people kind of did that last, especially when it was current, because you can only get the win and the item from the final, like the Alexanders, once a week. It's no longer like that, but that's what it used to do, so people would just work on that while buying the lore of armor.
Right.
I personally, it also depends on your class to a degree. It's kind of the whole min-maxing kind of deal. The lore weapon and the extreme fight weapons for tanks are terrible. Like, I don't even look at them. And every time they come out, they're just awful. The Dark Knight Relic has the best stats of any Dark Knight weapon I have seen. Because it's just crit rate and determination. That's all you need.
And it looks awesome, too.
Yeah, you should see the next tier. It gets an eyeball.
He gets an eyeball? Is that foreshadowing?
I don't know. Like, it's slowly turning into Soul Edge, and then I'm going to become Nightmare. But no, like, it has a purple eyeball. It's called Guillotine of the Tyrant. It's pretty neat looking. I think the next form is it going to be glowing. The current relic quest is kind of weird because it's not too hard, but it's annoying. And it's only annoying because they tied it completely to your esoteric tomes again, and I'm just sick of them doing that. I want them to, like, in the last one with the Zodiac weapons, there was a ton of stuff that had nothing to do with your tombstones. Like, sure, it was like, go out and, like, have an RNG or grind fest and kill stuff, but it didn't do anything to my tombstones.
Right.
This anima weapon has been like, all of these steps are tied to your esoteric tombstones, and I'm just stop. Just stop tying things to tombstones. Give me something else to do instead of just grinding the same dungeons.
Yeah.
Or esoterics that I've been doing since 3.0.
I'm gonna have to start doing that because I really want to transmog my gear into the level 50 Black Mage Relic gear, like really bad. Or glamour, rather.
Yeah, and I mean, I know how you feel, that's why I have the Dark Knight armor on, even though I don't have any of that armor on. It's just, it looks better than anything else out there, in my opinion.
Right.
So, just one of those things. Let's see. I know we kind of covered what you want to see in 4.0, but now that you guys are more familiar with the game, do you have any more notes to add of what you would like to see in 4.0?
I really hope they continue with a weapon progressing through an expansion. I really love that idea, like, a lot.
The relic weapons are going to be there still. I just hope they kind of approach it differently. So, like, what they did from the Zodiac to the Anima is, like, your Zodiac weapon was done, and that's the end of the Zodiac weapons. Which, you spent forever to make this goddamn weapon. And then the level cap raised, and it's like, alright, you could just trade in your Zodiac weapon to skip the first part of the Anima weapon. It's like, really?
Right.
I worked really hard for that. Can it just turn into the next tier? I would be much more okay with that. So I really hope that's kind of something I would like to see them do, is, like, make a weapon that literally just continues the journey with you, instead of like, alright, well, that one's done, it's trash. Alright, on to the next relic. You know? I think that would be a
Yeah.
much cooler approach. The issue is, and I know why they didn't do that, and I know why they won't do that,
It's a lot of work.
is because that means you would have to have finished the Zodiac weapons to start the Anima weapons. Which, you know, if you're just starting the game at Heavensward, you really don't want to pause all your progress to go do a bunch of level 50 content to get to level 60 content kind of deal. So I understand why they didn't do it. I would still like to see it. Like, if you do have the Anima weapon finished, instead of just trading it in and, like, getting crystals, essentially, that you can, in fact, turn it into the next part. Just if you have it, like, instead of just trading it in. Make it skip the next part, but you don't just, you know... Because the way they did it is that you hand the Zodiac weapon in, and you get 2 crystals for it. Like, that's it.
Oh, is that it?
Like, you trade it in, you skip the first part, which is a fate grind, where you have to get, like, 3 crystals in every area, which isn't that bad anymore, because they increased the drop rate pretty high. And you can level other jobs while doing it. So if you have another level 50 job, like that can do the Heavensward quest, or fates, you can level that job while working on the relic for your level 60, which was nice. I'm happy that they did that. But with the Zodiac, you could skip that part, and basically you just hand it to this lady, and she just rips it apart and hands you 2 crystals. Like, she just tears it apart and hands you 2 crystals for it, and you're like, cool. I worked really hard on that.
Yeah.
At least you can get a glamour version of it back.
Yeah, but as a Dark Knight main now, that doesn't really matter because they're non-existent for me. Like, I turned in my Monk relic and made it a Dark Knight relic. So that's the other part too, is because they added 3 new jobs. So there is no level 50 relic for them. Really hard to do that then. So, like I said, have it to where you can trade it in and skip a part. Approach it differently instead of just, alright, I'm going to rip this apart and hand you 2 crystals. Just be like, alright, cool, I'm going to turn this into the weapon. That's all I want. It's just change the dialogue.
Yeah.
I'll be much happier. Instead of just like, I worked really hard, like, really hard on that weapon. And you just ripped it in half to give me 2 crystals. Thanks! My life is a lie.
When I first started doing the Anima quest, I remember she mentioned bringing the Zeta weapon. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, that's the final form of the...
And I'm like, I was like, oh, that must be the end of the relic from 50. But I was like, and I thought to myself, I was like, you know, for only 2 crystals, I don't even think I would turn it in. I would just keep it.
Well, that's the thing now, is because I could go back and buy a glamour version of the Zodiac weapon.
Oh, you can.
Yeah, they let you do that, so you could go and get a replica of it at any time you want.
Oh, okay, then whatever. Yeah, no, I probably would turn it in then.
And you know, you still have people like someone in our free company is in fact doing the level 50 relics for the ninja, and I was even like, you know, you don't have to do that. There's a level 60 relic. It's like, yeah, but I want to do it so I can say I did it. Plus, it looks cool, and it's like, cool, go for it.
Right.
And you know, you're going to get people like that, and if you do, that's like, fine, cool, man. Have fun. But no, the Zodiac weapon was a lot of fun to make. Like, they had a bunch of different things in it. There was some parts that were awful, but all of them were different. Anima has so far been, alright, go do this fate grind. It's like, alright, fine. Did the fate grind. Got the wolf sword. Then there was a unique thing that was like, alright, go do these dungeons. Like, alright, cool, this one hasn't been done before. We'll go do this dungeon and get it imbued kind of deal. Cool. Give it back to you. It's like, alright. So you thought this was going to be fun. Here's the worst goddamn quest in the game. And you're like, but, alright. And by that I mean it literally will take at least 3 months to complete that quest.
Ugh.
People have mathed it out.
Oh god.
Unless you want to go like crazy as shit and do nothing but Alexander runs your entire life, it will take 3 months.
I wonder if they're going to change that.
They do. They always nerf it, but they don't want to nerf that part yet. Because everybody who's completed it, and they feel if they nerf it too soon after everybody who's completed it, because it was such a long grind, would just be pissed. And they're right.
I hope they would add in more ways to get the pieces for that, not just
well, no,
lower how
that's
many
that's
you
the
need.
thing though, is that with that part there are tons of ways, tons and tons of ways to get different pieces for it, and that's what I appreciated. It was like you can literally just play the game, and you'll be working on that relic. So it wasn't like that bad. It just took a while. Like I just did my Beastman dailies, which give me money and XP anyway, and I work towards the relic. It's like cool, awesome. And then they added, like after that, the shortest quest of all times was basically just go, all right, go do this thing 5 times. You're like, that's it? And it's like, yeah, we felt bad after the last quest, so this is it. It's like, cool, thanks, and moved on to where I currently am, which is like, all right, so you need to get these 2 different items and combine them to make this thing to imbue your weapon. It's like, all right, cool. This one item, you could get this in like 50 different ways. It's like, cool, what about this one? Well, that one is esoterics only. It's like, you motherfuckers. You have been really good about this. Don't revert back to that bullshit. So I would have been much happier if they did it like in the Zodiac weapons, there was Alexanderite, where you had to get like 100 Alexanderite, which sounds terrible, but there was a bunch of different ways to do it all. So it wasn't. You could do like a daily treasure map and get an Alexanderite after that. So you at least one a day, no problem, for free. If they like added that to it, where it's like you could get one daily from doing a map, I would be happy as hell. But no, it's just esoterics, and it's like, you dirty motherfucker.
See, I haven't played long enough for that to deal with that to actually be so emotional about it, but I'm looking forward to the point in probably a month or so when I start getting angry about stuff in the game.
Well,
so that should be much more interesting.
And I'm still doing it, so it's a good kind of thing. It's like, why, you fuckers? But, I'm still having fun, I'm still doing it. And the esoterics aren't that bad, it's only 300 per. So, I mean, like, if you do your daily roulette, you're going to get 300 a day, no problem, period. And to answer a question in Twitch real fast, the raids in Final Fantasy are actually really good. In 2.0, there was the Coil of Bahamut, which to this day is still a pain in the ass to complete, even though it's level 50 content.
Now that Coil is an 8-man?
Yes, that's an 8-man raid. That's the actual raid.
There's only 2 24-mans, right?
Well, there's technically 5. So they had level 50 24-mans as well, which was the Crystal Tower quests.
Right.
So it was Labyrinth of the Aegis, Cypress Tower, and the World of Darkness. Those 3 were World of Darkness, or 24-man. And then now we have Void Ark and the Weeping City, which are the 2 current ones right now, which are also 24-man. Those are the 24-man raids, and how they usually start or work is like the current one, Weeping City, you can only get armor from it once a week, but it's item level 230, so it's up there with lore, but you can only get it once a week. And what they have done as well is with that, if you do Weeping City, you get an item that you could trade in and upgrade your lore armor to 240, so it doesn't make the lore armor obsolete and worthless to get. So they behave it pretty well. They approach it pretty well. The raids themselves is Coil of Bahamut and Alexander. Coil of Bahamut, even though it's level 50 content, is still a pain in the ass. And I mean that. It is ridiculous. So Tier 9 has 6 instant death mechanics.
Ugh.
Ugh.
So it doesn't matter if you're level 60, if you don't do the mechanics, you die. There are 6 instant death mechanics. So somewhere along the way after Coil of Bahamut, a lot of players were like, well, that's an interesting story that we'll never be able to do because I'm not a hardcore raider. Thanks, guys! So with Alexander, they came out with 2 separate modes. There's normal mode, which is like you could jump into Duty Fighter, get it done pretty easily, get gear for it, it's good, it's fun. And then there's Savage mode, which is the same level of bullshit that Coil of Bahamut was. So your hardcore raiders are happy, and your more casual players are happy because they can also experience the raid and the storyline. So it was a good compromise. I'm very happy that they did it, and they're going to continue to do it. But yeah, so the raids are really good. And why are there a shit ton of naked people dancing on my table?
Did you only just now tab back?
I haven't tabbed out. It's my camera's idling. It's going everywhere. It just finally went back to there.
Oh yeah. Because I called Z's bluff, and so now it's happening.
Crabby's not helping. Got it.
Nope.
So yeah, the raids are a lot of fun. The coils in 2.0 were really heavy mechanics. Every single boss, like final tier of it, had an instant death mechanic guaranteed, which is still an instant death if you're level 60. It's not that it did a lot of damage, it's an instant death mechanic. Which is funny because back in the day with Labyrinth of the Agents, and this is why they kind of tweaked it a little bit, is that there was a boss that was supposedly had an instant death mechanic if you screwed up. But the way they did it is because it made it do 9,999 damage. Once the item level got high enough, warriors can survive that instant death mechanic because they just had more HP than that, so they're like, whatever, I don't give a shit. So they kind of had to tweak it a bit. They're like, alright, we can't do that anymore. People's HP is scaling too damn high. So the raids are a lot of fun. The 24-mans are an experience because the Weeping City is really cool. It's really fun. It's also a pain in the ass to do sometimes, not because it's like hard mechanics. It's because you're stuck with 23 other people, so your increased chance of stupid is happening. Unfortunately, this is a game that is mechanic kind of based, so, one jackass ruining it for everybody else. It takes one person to kill 23 other people sometimes, and it's just like, you motherfucker. There's one fight in particular in the Weeping City that if one person puts a meteorite in the wrong place, there's at least going to be one of the three parties they're going to wipe.
Are the three of us synchronized dancing right now, or is it only for me?
No, I'm pretty synced too.
It looks like the three of us are synced pretty good right now with the Mandeville dance.
It's like the Macarena, but everybody is facing the wrong way.
Yeah.
Alright, so we're going to move on to our Easter eggs. And this is something we can all touch on. It's the Empire is in fact an Easter egg.
Really?
Yeah, does anybody care to guess from where?
I have no idea.
It's Final Fantasy VI.
Oh.
Like, they have the Magitech armor that is straight out of Final Fantasy VI. And so on and so forth. So the Empire as a whole is kind of a Easter egg to the Empire in Final Fantasy VI. They have the Magitech armor. They have the same kind of deal. Oh, that's right.
You can you can jump into their armor and stuff too, can't you?
Yeah, it's a mount. So yeah, they're just a straight callback to Final Fantasy VI. Because in 6 there was an evil empire using the Magitech armor and other things like that, trying to capture espers, which the Empire in 14 is trying to capture the primals to take over the world. So the Empire is just the Empire from Final Fantasy VI.
Oh, I remember that. I totally remember that, yeah.
Why are there so many people dancing? Okay.
It's okay, Brodin. I don't have a dance. So I can't join in on the shenanigans.
You do your own dance.
And funny enough, Lituna actually just put an Easter egg on in the video.
What's that?
The armor she just threw on is the Rose set, which you get from Veteran Awards. And, I mean, they're pretty straightforward about it. The Veteran Awards have a ton of Easter egg armors in it. Right now there's 3 sets. You could get Cloud Strife's armor from Advent Children. She is wearing Furion from Final Fantasy II. And then you can also get Zidane from Final Fantasy IX.
Oh.
And then in the cash shop they have Snow from Final Fantasy XIII and Lightning from Final Fantasy XIII as well. Male and female only armor specifically. So yeah, the game's littered with Easter eggs, and we'll keep going through them for fun. But yeah, the Empire as a whole is a pretty big one. Because it's just a straight callback to Final Fantasy VI. And if you want, we can touch on it. Ultima Weapon is a Easter egg from Final Fantasy VII because it's a straight design rip from Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah, I remember in 7 it was like in 7 I feel
it was
like
a flying dragon.
Yeah, it was a flying like black dragon in 7.
Yeah, with 4 legs and then 2 arms. Like half humanoid kind of deal, just like Ultima Weapon is in this.
The ruby weapon, was that was that a dragon? Or was that a scorpion?
It was a weird
snake?
Giant thing that's its own
I
thing.
need to look that up because I'm trying to remember what the ruby weapon looks like and I can't.
Giant red sloth. Giant evil red sloth.
I had to look this up. The emerald weapon. I don't know if I ever killed the emerald weapon.
The emerald weapon was like a submarine thing.
Yeah, it was like an underwater dragon. That was annoying. Oh yeah, the ruby weapon was like, it was like a giant sloth.
It's a giant evil red sloth.
Oh yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, that thing was a pain in the ass.
Yeah, and
where, like, sucked you in and like AoE'd constantly.
Something that a lot of people don't know on that I'll touch on real fast is the PvP storyline. There is actually a storyline to the PvP stuff going on. Is kind of dealing... Well, the last time they did story for it was back in like 2.x. They've just been adding things to it. I'd really like them to kind of touch on what they touched on in there, because they were talking about Omega Weapon. So, like, one of the PvP grounds, several of the PvP grounds, are on top of the burial site of Omega Weapon. So, it'll be interesting to see if they ever finally get to Omega Weapon. Which I think they might do in whatever expansion we go to Al Amigo in, because it kind of just deals with that entire thing. And yes, that is the Free Company house, Alex. So we'll see if they ever go back and touch more on the Omega Weapon, which would be nice. Good to see that again.
What? I don't remember what the Omega Weapon was.
That's in like Final Fantasy VI and a bunch of other Final Fantasies. It's the one that has like 4 legs and is an orb, typically. Like if you're talking old school ones.
Yeah. I don't know if I've ever seen one.
I'm sure you have. Here, I'll find a picture real fast.
I seem to have lost my belt for my crafting outfit, and I don't know where I put it.
So the typical design that he's most used as... Looking for the old school sprite picture. Just type in current game. He's been either a giant dragon or a weird tank thing. They've kind of gone back to the giant tank thing, which was like his original design anyway. Like here it is in just give me this. Thank you. Posted in Discord. So that's what it was in, like, when he was brought back as an Easter egg in Final Fantasy XIII.
Oh.
2? Yeah, 13-2.
He almost looks like a Metal Gear.
Yeah, and his, like, older sprites are... But that's typically what he looks like, is the 4-legged walker tank kind of deal. I don't know what design they'll really go with him now. We'll see. But yeah, that's what he... Like a higher res version of what he used to look like right there.
Right.
So I'm interested to see what design they really do pick for him in this one, since they have such a plethora of designs to pick. Be interesting to see.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have any news?
Not that I can find anything noteworthy.
Yeah, nothing good happened. I don't really haven't.
Alright, well, the only news I can really think of is not really Final Fantasy news. It's just something Final Fantasy XIV related that entertained me. I got a beta key to the Legion expansion for World of Warcraft, and the amount of things they have copied from 14 into this expansion amused me. So they went away from like...
Warcraft's pretty good at taking shit from other games and trying to make it better. But,
so they got rid of like the shitty race-specific animations of like there were 3 per race for attacks, and made class-specific animations. They reduced...
What?
Yeah, so like they went and like cleaned up all of the animations. Like Whirlwind isn't just a shitty little spin anymore. It's actually like a big-ass attack that looks decent. Actually looks like it has weight behind it. So they went and cleaned up all of their animations to be class-specific instead of race-specific.
That's
which
good.
is something 14 did.
Yeah.
And then they added the relic weapons. 14 did.
Oh, yeah, they added the weapons. Yep.
So it's just like, they saw Final Fantasy XIV was starting to like be better than it, like in subscription numbers, and they're like, alright, what is that game doing? Cool, let's do that.
I don't know, man. I played that game for 11 years, and I might check out Legion. I might buy it and play it till the end of the expansion and then just quit. But
I mean, I'm going to be completely honest. I'm going to do that. I don't hate World of Warcraft. It's just there's nothing to do with it.
I mean, yeah, I don't hate it either. It's just I don't like it as much as I did, you know.
Well,
I would much rather play Elder Scrolls Online or Final Fantasy XIV than Warcraft.
I was going to say Final Fantasy XIV is just a better game than World of Warcraft is now.
That's how I'm feeling at this point, actually. Yeah.
Like the story is amazing, it's engaging, and so on and so forth. Which is something that they're doing in the Legion as well. Is that they're trying to make you the important person of the story now. So it's like, how much shit are you going to steal from Final Fantasy XIV for this expansion pack?
Yeah.
So it's just, you know, and I might be stretching it, but I kind of feel like the class halls are a bit like the housing in 14 since they're not doing housing.
Yeah, but
you could go there and hang out with all of your other, like, class-specific people.
From what I heard is the class halls in Legion are like, Garrisons 2.0.
Garrisons are awful.
They're terrible. Terrible.
Anyway, that's enough about World of Warcraft. We're not a World of Warcraft podcast. But yeah, no, I just find it interesting.
A bashing World of Warcraft podcast. That might be good.
Well, no, I just found it interesting on how much crap they are stealing from 14 for this expansion pack. It just amused me, that's all.
Right.
Alright, so we don't have any news, so we really are kind of wrapping things up unless there's anything else anybody wants to share.
Just that I am super salty about people who leave duties right at the end.
Oh
of
yeah,
it.
she was abandoned in the great Google library, as we call it.
Oh, yeah.
So mad. We were like a handful of trash and one boss from the end, and everybody just left. And I wound up sitting there for about an hour while
I saw your message, then if I had a tank to level, because you're asking for a tank, I would have hopped in.
If I wasn't
tried to get in there instance.
If I wasn't leaving to go to work, I would have done it. But I like woke up and I was like, I gotta work. But I gotta say though, like, the Final Fantasy games have always had the most friggin' insane-looking bosses, and I didn't realize it until I got to the last boss in the library, where it's like a giant book head. I was like, "What the fuck?" Like, it was super weird. I was like, I forgot how crazy this shit is.
You know, I appreciate the fact that they kept to like some of their crazy-ass designs from the, because that's, you know, in the older games, that's just what it was. Like, that's just what enemy design was back then. It's like, oh, this is a giant book, and everybody was like, all right, cool, that makes sense.
All right, let's put some arms and legs on it, and there's the boss.
Because that's just kind of like what old school Final Fantasies were, and everybody was like, all right, cool. You know, we're gonna suplex this tray now. All right, I guess that works.
Let's make a demon wall. There's a big square with a demon head coming out of it. Demon wall. There you go.
This is an angry book with teeth. And this is an angry book with a psychic demon baby head coming out of it.
In all honesty, it's something Final Fantasy XI didn't do that I am so happy 14 did. They kept these cheesy-looking enemy designs, just made them high def and gave it to us. It's like, yes,
it's like,
this is Final Fantasy. Thank
It's
you.
like the first guy that walked into the the room where they're designing monsters, and he just says two random words. They say, "All right, we're going to literally do that," and they make that a monster. It's awesome. I think it's really weird, and I love it.
Yeah, and you guys haven't gotten into it yet, but once you get to the anti-tower, you get to have Lituna's favorite boss fight.
What's that?
It's 6 little children dolls as a boss.
Oh god,
Oh,
that
God,
video. I got to watch over his shoulder while he played it, and it's just.
It in itself is also an Easter egg to a Final Fantasy IV boss fight, but yeah, it's the 6 little dolls that merge into one giant children's doll, and it's just...
is it like
It
marionette
Tim Burton's
fight?
Nightmare.
Yeah,
And it's Kakabrina.
it's Cockabrina
Yeah,
from
yeah,
Final
from
Fantasy IV.
Right. Oh
Yep.
god.
So the
I love
anti-tower's
those
boss fight
before.
is that, and Lituna
Yeah.
was just like, "What the hell is going on?" It's like, it's fine. Don't worry about it.
That and the one with the laughing, crying lady and the zombie head from earlier.
Oh, that's Totoro
Yeah.
hard
Oh my
mode.
god.
There's rumored she's making a comeback in that
Palace of the
new
Dead.
dungeon crawling thing. Yeah.
Isn't she dead?
It's
Yeah,
called
no,
Palace of the Dead, to be fair.
There's also a funny Easter egg with her. She's a rare NPC spawn in towns. Like her ghost will spawn in towns behind you sometimes and like stare at you
yeah.
for a couple seconds before
Fuck.
fading away.
Fuck that.
No.
That is amazing. Like I want that to happen to me.
That
You know
is-
what's I didn't realize
Oh,
that
no.
NPC when I did that. I didn't realize who she was until I remembered. She you see her in her quote party from like a level 5 quest or something.
Mhm.
And,
like she later
yeah.
comes and even talks to you like how she wants to be like you or whatever. How she was
Right,
inspired.
right, yeah. That's so cool.
It's in fact the original Totoro Totoro quest, I believe.
hmm
And then the hard mode is the finishing of that story. And that's what I really like about the hard modes in this game, in all honesty. And that's something another free company member asked, is like, is it just level 50 of the same crap? It's like, no, actually, their own storyline is a continuation of the dungeon into what has happened to it and involving it as you progress through the story. So if you go back to Hawk Manor hard mode, it's completely different than Hawk Manor. And so on and so forth. And they are still doing hard modes. We didn't get one in this patch on 3.4, but we did, or 3.3, but we did in 3.2. We got the Tower, Pharaoh Sirius hard. Yeah, Pharaoh Sirius hard mode in like 3.1 or 3.2. And it was a continuation of the Pharaoh Sirius where you go and fight Siren. So it's what happened to that place after you got rid of Siren, and apparently goblins went in and took it over. So you're just fighting goblins the entire time. So it's a completely different dungeon. It's the same area. You get to see what happened to it in the time that you were gone, which I really enjoy. I'm glad that they do that kind of hard mode instead of like, I want to bash on WoW again. Like, its hard modes were just the same shit, harder. Like, maybe slightly different mechanics, but it was just the same dungeon.
Right.
So I'm happy that they actually like went and are making different dungeons that are hard modes instead of just the same dungeon at level 50 or something like that. So that's why, in fact, yeah, in 3.3 we did get a hard mode. We got a Hullbreaker Island hard mode. So we did get a hard mode, but it's what happens when you went there and got rid of the Kraken and a whole bunch of other monsters. It's now a Maelstrom training ground. So it's a continuation of the area and what happened to it. Which is cool.
Nice.
I appreciate it.
I really appreciate that. 'Cause it's so easy for them to just like everybody has twice as much health and hits twice as hard, but
Yoshi
This
P
is-
cares too much about this game to
Yeah.
let that happen.
this is so much better.
I'm gonna kind of tie things up here, just saying my favorite thing is still that Yoshi P, like whenever he does interviews, says something he's not supposed to say, and then tells us he wasn't supposed to say that after he says it. That's like such a common practice for him. Like he'll say something, you'll see him like look off camera to like, you know, one of his crew members and then come back and like nod and come back. He's like, apparently I wasn't supposed to say that. And it's just like, you magnificent bastard.
He looks off camera and everybody off camera is like, what the fuck now?
Yeah, pretty much. It's like, we weren't supposed to talk about this. You're our boss. Don't talk about this. It's just amusing to me that happens so frequently with him. And he's like, I'm not supposed to talk about this, but I brought artwork to show you about it. So here's the art. It's like, you motherfucker. And he's amusing to me because, like, the way he announced Dark Knight was being added in 3.0 is like he announced Machinists and then took off a shirt, and he was wearing a Batman shirt, and he was like, and we're adding this.
You're adding Batman?
Chippy is great.
It was pretty amusing. He was like, I'm also a pretty big fan of Batman, so I think we're adding Dark Knight. It's like, okay. Weirdo.
Maybe at FanFest he's gonna walk out on stage with a giant fucking sword and be like, I don't know what you think we're adding in 4.0, but this is a samurai sword.
Something like that would probably happen.
Yeah.
No, if anything, he'd walk out dressed as a red mage, because that's his favorite job. Just
Maybe
like,
have like a whole red outfit on or something.
yeah, he'd like walk out in a red mage outfit. It's like, so we're adding samurai. Everybody just stares at his outfit. He's like, what?
Well, hey, at least it's not like one of the game director of WildStar where he did an interview and live on air he's like, oh yeah, we're going to be doing this, and the engineers of the game literally found out about that when he said it, and they were like, what? And I forget what it was. It was like some system they were adding into the game. And they didn't even know until he said it on air that they were going to do it. Like, that is terrible communication.
Alright, well, just because it's what time it is, and I know Lituna needs to take off here for work shortly, and we kind of covered all of our topics for today anyway, I'm going to say thanks for everybody for tuning in. If you like what we do, feel free to support us on Patreon. DungeonCrawlerNetwork.com has all of our other stuff, as well as the old Chocobo Knights, which we are, from and moving forward from. And if you want to support us financially, great, thank you. If not, iTunes reviews, 5-star reviews, any of that stuff helps. Just word of mouth, even if you like what we do, let people know, get us more listeners. We appreciate it, and we do want to say thank you for tuning in. Anybody have any closing thoughts?
Yeah, totally. We would love people to join our free company on the Marlborough server and the Primal Data Center. I would love to have like nights where we just log on and say, hey, let's do this 8-man thing or something. So, if anybody wants to join us, my character's name is Crabby Cakes. You can send me a message. Or, anybody online in the free company. So.
And I do want to tell you, Crabby, we are kind of at that point now that you've hit 60. If you log on and there's people on, just ask us if you want to go and do this, and we can find other people.
Right. I would like to have a night or two where people will come on to do something. Maybe. That would be cool too, but not like.
Well, the issue with that is right now is that we have a bunch of people currently leveling.
Right.
And not at level 60.
Cough, cough.
Although
you gotta actually play the game Kukajoo first before.
Seriously.
Oh. But nothing back at me? No? Alright, fine. Yeah, exactly.
But I missed that.
Yeah, sure you did.
You gotta actually play the game to level.
Oh, yeah.
To be fair, on Kukajoo's part, she has a level 60, just not on our server.
Yeah, but she's playing a terrible game instead of this, though.
What?
We're not going to touch on it. We're not going to touch on it. We're not going to touch on.
We are too far into the podcast to open.
Not going to touch on.
Sucks.
Hey, man.
Hey.
He's just saying it to get a rile out of our entire network.
And I'm done.
Like it's a civil war of not.
I've said my piece.
Anybody else with closing thoughts? Not related to Overwatch.
Gotta catch them all.
Oh yeah, that's right. I'm gonna get food after this, and I'm gonna see if there's any Pokemon at the.
Yeah, I'm gonna go
restaurant.
for that 20-minute walk down to the local gym and stops.
Lituna, any closing thoughts?
I would really. Crabby said food, and now it's like, oh, I should probably eat before my shift. That is
All right,
my
then.
closing thought.
Well, then we're gonna go get food. Apparently, everybody, thanks for tuning in. Have a good week. We'll be around next week as well, and that's all I got. Bye.
Yep.
Bye.
See ya.